The Beijing 2008 Olympic Games officially get underway August 8th, but the excitement is already building here in the United States. John Lucas, a Penn State sports historian and an internationally recognized specialist on the history of the modern Olympic Games, has attended every Summer Games since 1960, and this year will be no different. We recently had a chance to talk with him about the controversy surrounding the location of this year's Games. You have attended every Summer Olympics game since 1960 in Rome. I'm wondering, with what interest are you looking forward to the Summer Games in Beijing?
The 1988 Olympic Games were in Seoul, Korea, and I love them, if for no other reason that they reminded me of the nightmarish Korean War that I participated in, if you want to use that word. And so the contrast was very, very great. And I loved the Korean Olympic Games, and I hope that I will also fall in love with the Beijing Olympic Games that I will attend in August.
The Olympics were supposed to be China's coming out party on the world stage. So much has happened. There's been so much controversy as part of this game. What are your expectations for this particular one?
The International Olympic Committee always selects a city 7 years in advance so that the city can spend a lot of money and time. And so the games for Beijing were selected 7 years ago when things were tumultuous, as they always are in the world, but there was no reason why China, the largest country in the world and the most populated country in the world, should not have the privilege of hosting the games. So they chose that city. And the Chinese, rightly or wrongly, have spent already $14 billion of precious monies that a poor country no longer has. And so there's much criticism for that reason, and much more for the political system of a country that is very capitalistic in many ways, and yet at the core, pure, unadulterated Marxist communist.
There are some who say that it was a mistake on the part of the International Olympics Committee to award this to Beijing because of the politics involved. But the Olympics have never been apolitical.
That's true. The IOC, the International Olympic Committee, chose the Berlin Olympic Games of 1936 back in 1929, when Adolf Hitler was a nobody waiter in Bavaria and totally unknown. He became the Führer some years later, and the IOC chose not to abandon Berlin as the site of the Olympic Games, and so we had the most contentious Olympic Games ever in so-called Nazi Germany with Adolf Hitler as boss.
There's lots of talk this time around about boycotting, although it seems at present to be limited to the opening ceremonies. But the United States has boycotted the Olympics. In 1980, we boycotted the Moscow Games, and China, ironically enough, joined us in that boycott. What do you think of mixing politics and sports, and how effective is a boycott?
I prefer to answer the second part of your question rather than give you my personal opinion. Boycotts absolutely do not work. We had a boycott in 1956 when the Soviet Union invaded Hungary, and countries boycotted because of politics and a little war, so to speak. There was a boycott in 1980 when your president and mine, Jimmy Carter, was repelled by the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan, and he would not allow the 400 American male and female athletes to go to Moscow, and so the communist world won 90% of all the medals. 4 years later, your president and mine, Ronald Reagan, called Russia an evil empire. And so they got angry at us, and they didn't send any communist athletes of any kind to Los Angeles in '84, and the USA won all the medals. It is madness to mix that which is anathema to being mixed, oil and vinegar, politics and sport.
And it doesn't look like a boycott is in the cards.
No.
The Bush administration
No,
says that
it's something about boycotting the opening ceremonies, which political leaders have the right to do, and we may see that.
What kind of effect do you think the negative spotlight on China will have on future games?
I'm a historian, and so ask me a question about what happened 100 years ago, and I'm on safe ground. Looking into the future, I would only say that whoever is president of the International Olympic Committee in the year 2010, Vancouver Winter Olympics, 2012, the London Olympics, and 2014, the Winter Olympic Games have already been selected for Sochi, Russia. Whoever is president of the IOC will have to be even more careful and cautious about the specter of politics pushing its powerful way into the world of sport.
London in 2012, many say, is a politically safe place to hold the Olympics. Would you agree with that?
There are allegedly in London, England, secret sects of militant self-destructive terrorists cells all over London. So I am not sure. If I'm fortunate enough and the Olympian gods and goddesses are kind to me, I'll go.
Speaking of being kind to you, you received the Olympic Order Gold Medal from the International Olympics Committee in 1996. You were one of 3 Americans to be so honored, and you're internationally recognized as a specialist on the history of the modern Olympic Games. First of all, what sparked your interest in the Olympics?
Oh, that's an easy question. I tried out for the 1952 Olympic Games. I went to California and ran in the 10,000-meter Olympic trials, but 3 Penn Staters finished ahead of me, far ahead of me, and so I did not make the Olympic team in 1952. I did not go to Helsinki, Finland, but Horace Ashenfelter III, a Penn State University graduate and a member of the FBI, he went there and won the gold medal, but in a different event, not the 10,000 meters, but the steeplechase. So I failed to make the Olympic team. Those aforementioned people that I just mentioned never went to an Olympic Games after their competition, and in Horace's case, winning a gold medal. But I've been to every single one without winning a medal. So I tell my students, if you can't make it head on, take a left turn, take a right turn, go under or go over, and get somewhere. Make something of yourself.
I can't even imagine what it must be like, because you have actually run in every stadium where the world's greatest athletes have competed.
You've given me a tummy ache, because I've written several fine, beautifully typed 2-page letters to the director of the Beijing Olympic Games, asking them, please may I have permission to do what I've been doing for 45 years or 46 years, and that is to run in the Olympic Stadium at 5:30 or 6 o'clock a.m. I'm a harmless, eccentric professor, and I would like to do this. May I please have your permission to do it? I haven't received an answer yet, but there's still time, There is still time.
Real quickly, I just wanted to talk about a couple of issues that have been plaguing the Olympics for a number of years. Doping continues to be a problem. This year, there's a new little wrinkle with a Speedo swimsuit, which some are saying is a form of technological doping because it provides more flotation than other swimsuits do. But I'm wondering how concerned you are about the whole doping issue and whether that's something we're really tackling.
It is infinitely, doping is infinitely more important than a new Speedo bathing suit, which is a non-issue, and it soon will pass. 15 world records were broken only yesterday by superb swimmers, not because they're wearing a silly $75 Speedo suit. but because they're superb swimmers. So the Speedo company is behind all of this, so that you will go out and buy a Speedo suit and thus, by magic, become a fine swimmer. It's advertising at its greatest or at its worst. So the doping issue is really serious. And the Chinese are going to test every single person, every single one of the 13,000 athletes. But it won't do any good, because back home, if they were taking drugs for 11.5 months prior to the Olympic Games, there are medical doctors that know how to administer a certain cleansing fluid that will wash away all of the drugs, and they will show up at the Olympic Games virginally pure and clean. So it's up to the athletes, their coaches and managers, with regard to the ethics and their sense of fair play, that is more important than the testing that will be given to all the athletes, and another test to every single female. She will have to go into a little private room with a nurse and disrobe in order to show that she is what she alleges to be, and that is a woman. All of that is important, but far less important to me with regard to the Olympic athlete and his and her sense of fair play and sportsmanship.
I want to end on this. To what extent do you think the Olympic ideals of peace and unity is being fulfilled?
Pierre de Coubertin, the founder of the Olympic Games, hoped that it would instantly be accepted by all athletes, by all spectators, and some invisible and futuristic audience on radio and television, and it has not even remotely come close to that yet. But the ancient Olympic Games lasted 1,000 years, and we're only into our 2nd century, so there is time.
Thank you so much for talking with us.